So about a year ago, I got into sim racing. The way it happened was, my buddy invited me over to his house to try out his really high-end sim rig. He has a Simucube wheelbase and cubic motion. It's a really nice rig, and I was hooked immediately. He convinced me to build my own sim rig, join iRacing, and join a league that he was in. He said it'd be a good way for me to practice and get up to speed quickly, because these guys are pretty experienced. Since he's been in the league for a couple of seasons, I thought to myself, sure, we're about the same pace, and so it'll be a fun way for me to get to know some guys and get a little competition in. Maybe I'll win a trophy. But after my first race in the league, I immediately realized I was massively outgunned. After all, these guys had been sim racing for years, and most of them raced in real life a little bit too. A few of them are even pro drivers. Me, on the other hand, I have almost no experience at all. What's the next line? Needless to say, it did not go well for me.
See, this is coming down into Jackie Hicks. Car gets a little sideways, and a little more than just sideways. It bounces off the wall. He's able to carry on, but now he's fallen to 10th position.
And I can report that happened a handful of laps ago, so Ian Roche is still out there. He is off pace, but still on the racetrack. Looks like we're going to get another replay from the same car. This is through that Puhan section, incredibly fast and more contact with the tire wall that time. Heavier contact too.
Much heavier contact. I wouldn't be surprised if he did have. Yes, he is in pit lane right now, it looks like. So that explains that situation.
That's on me, sorry, man.
Last season ended up being a huge lesson in humility and an example of exactly how many levels there are to sim racing. So I decided next season was going to be different. In the off season, I was going to train, get some coaching, get used to the new car, the 911 RSR, and in season 2 for IANSMASH, we're going to be competitive. The thing is when the time came, I didn't actually do any of that stuff. And on the morning of our first race at Daytona, I was completely unprepared. So I decided to take drastic measures.
IANSMASH Racing doesn't have an intro, 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 doesn't have an intro.
Here's the deal. I'm slow. I have a race tonight with fast people. Your boy wants to go faster. So what we're doing, we're getting trophi.ai and see if it can make us faster. So my turn-in's too late for the bus stop. That feels wrong. Alright, I'll try to turn in earlier.
Right away, things weren't off to a great start. I was having a little trouble adjusting to some of the overlays, and the feedback wasn't coming through as consistently as I wanted it to. One of the big problems I was having is trophi.ai gives you distance in meters, which can feel a little bit specific sometimes when I'm trying to react after a turn. I'd really appreciate if it was something like car lengths or, I don't know, even just some vaguer increment like brake a little bit later, but that's neither here nor there. At this point, an hour in, I'm starting to question if this is even a good idea.
Oh my god, bro. I keep looking at the fucking things. Getting distracted. Did it? Alright, I'm gonna try to ignore this shit and just drive for a second. 'Cause I feel like this is hurting, if anything. But I need to get used to where everything is. Yeah, no. Alright, so far, I'm not that impressed with this. I mean, here, I'll update my little text thing here. We did a 143.969. So basically 144. Track temps are 112 degrees. So that makes sense why I'm so much slower. Okay, so bling. That is today's baseline, right? I have done 143.969, which is not good for frame of reference. My league mates are from my pace up to 40 flats in the Discord, so I need to get a lot faster right now, so we need to fix that. So trophy AI. So far, I don't know.
So after about another hour and a half of practice with AIs, my times hadn't really improved a whole lot. And if I'm being honest, I was starting to struggle mentally. Was this just a complete waste of time? Can this AI even help me at all? What do I do for the race tonight?
God. That's kind of interesting. When I was using the track acclimatization program, it kept telling me to go down into first gear in a bunch of spots, all the hairpins. And last night in practice,
Right chicane, refine
my-
trail braking by releasing pressure 10% more gradually.
my league mate, who was doing 40 flats, and it was colder track temps, but 40 flats, was telling me not to go into first gear at all. So I'm wondering if this is just a track temp thing because it's hotter, it makes sense to go into first, or if trophy AI is wrong. I mean, my buddy's times are technically faster than the reference lap I'm using, but I think the track temps are a lot hotter. So I don't know how to frame it. I'm not really sure what to think.
Now I know I'm not the greatest driver in the world, but other me has a really good point. If my league mate's fastest lap is quicker than the reference lap I'm using, how much is Trophy AI actually able to help me? Can they even get me to his pace?
Alright, we got a few minutes left of practice, so let's go get acclimated.
You might notice I'm racing in the dark now, and that's because I was getting pretty sick of doing AI practice, and these super hot track temps are driving me insane. I'm not really good at operating iRacing, so I'm not exactly sure how to specifically lower the track temps in an AI session, so I just decided to join an official series, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll get a practice race in while I'm practicing. What could go wrong?
Okay. It wasn't bad.
It was around this point I started noticing my lap time was actually pretty good. A second faster than my fastest lap that I set yesterday. Is Trophy AI actually working? .41.65. Okay.
Alright, let's get a lap.
Brakes
But now it was time to qualify.
to maintain your speed.
That felt very slow. No, whatever. I have 2 laps, 12 gallons of fuel for some reason. Why the fuck do I have 12 gallons of fuel? Oh my god, I'm qualifying on like the race fuel? Alright, that's really dumb. But I'm here now, I'm not gonna not do it, because I think it'll fuck me over if I try not to.
In this right hairpin, try turning in 5 meters earlier for a better line.
Well, at this point, I think I can just tow and fucking switch my setup, because I don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, I'm on goddamn race setup. One lap is all I get, I guess. Hopefully this shit works still. Wonder if this counts as my second lap though. Jesus. Can I do better than 14th place?
So a P5 start. Nice. Probably a little higher than I'd start in my league race, but it's going to be great practice finding out what it's like to drive in traffic and race with other real people.
Brake 15 meters later. Press 5% harder.
So far, off to a good start.
On that last corner, work on smoother brake applications. Brake 10% too hard.
That was crazy.
On that last right corner, throttle application needs to be quicker. Focus on accelerating as you exit the next corner.
At this point, I'm kind of feeling like my training with trophi.ai is paying off. I'm feeling pretty quick. I'm hanging out in 5th place, and I'm driving pretty conservatively to give the pack ahead a little bit of space to mess up and crash themselves out without getting in front of me too much. But here I am, catching up and starting to get in the middle of it. This is a really great chance for me to experiment a little bit and find out what it's going to be like to battle in my race tonight. As we approach the start-finish, I start to line up on the outside, just because I see everyone else sort of battling for that slipstream. I cross over, cross back, and I know that might seem a little sketchy, but when it's packed up like this, I feel like it's a fair enough thing to do, and I had room. And then this.
Nice one. Fucking nice one, dude.
Well, my race
Fucking
is over.
dickhead, bro. Nice.
Had a pretty awesome outside line on him, and in reality what he really did was just twitch over trying to get around this other car, not having a lot of spatial awareness. But that's racing. Shit happens.
Yep.
It might have been a good idea to take this as a sign somehow, but in the moment I wasn't really sure what to make of it. All I knew was that was frustrating and kind of a waste of time.
Time to qualify.
So I practiced for a little longer, but in honesty I was kind of just tired after having that experience, so I gave myself a little bit of a rest before the race. But now, it was time to qualify, and it was time to put down a real lap time. Unlike an iRacing official race, we have a 30-minute open quali session with traffic and open setups, so there's a little bit of a strategy involved in actually getting a good lap time. I'm just not 100% sure what that strategy is.
Hey, what's the brake bias supposed to be at on this setup? I think I hit too many buttons by accident. Still missed Mark's time.
Ironically, or maybe unironically, my first lap was the fastest lap I ended up doing in that 30-minute session, and the next 30 minutes would be comprised of me just attempting to try to match my first lap time and failing. I thought I sped it up enough here, but I think I'm going to have to go back and speed it up more because honestly, I'm not even halfway through right now, and it was literally at 2,500%.
Out that 30 minutes, we're actually going to be doing a 40-minute race here at Daytona. The two classes this season are going to be the Porsche GTE and the Porsche GT4. So we've got the RSR car as well as that Cayman GT4 car that's going to be racing on the track.
So I know I mentioned before that this is an official league race for an official league, but I might not have specified. This race is actually broadcasted, so to add any pressure to being a newbie in a group of experienced dudes, people are talking about the race while we're doing it. I don't know how relevant this is, but it feels like it's kind of important to my story here, so I made this part of it.
Typical
combination of cars that you would see in most racing series, the old GTE class cars as well as the GT4s. And I mean, we've seen the GT4s a lot these days, but the RSR hasn't seen racing in a little bit, Joey. I mean, do you want to refresh?
Alright, time to race. Careful on the start, take it easy. Don't get too close. Don't leave too much space, too.
Well, this is a real punch in the gut if you're BJ Fulton. His connection went out just as they were lining up for the grid. So Michael Johnson.
Why is this
will inherit
fucking
the pole
pace
and
lap
start
so
at the
long?
front anyways, even though he couldn't manage to beat BJ on lap time. BJ looks like he's trying to reconnect.
It was a
and get
full
out
pace
of
lap
there.
maybe, but nah.
He's going to be quite a ways behind, and obviously even if he does catch the
Alright,
grid,
focus,
a
dude.
lot of cars to pass.
It's time to
As
race.
they get ready to
Where's the pace car?
be given control of the fields. Pace car peels off. And Michael
Oh, there it
Johnson
goes.
will wait for the call from
Alright,
the
go.
flag stand on his own
No, I don't.
up there.
Go.
There it is. Green flag
Go.
is out. He accelerates away and looks like he's trying to couple off that inside. Does not let Keith Spencer try and send one up down into turn one. Let's hope that we can get through this first corner nice and clean. They can often see a lot of issues, and it does look good for our GTEs as the GT4 is now heading as well.
No way.
Good job applying the throttle correctly back there. Keep it up.
It is Sam Mayorga, your pole sitter, that main.
And just like that, my race was over. 9 hours of practice for heartbreak in the first 10 seconds.
Really unfortunate.
Nothing I could do but tow back to the pits, get my fast repair, and get back out on the track. But coming back on 2 laps down meant that no matter what I did, I wasn't really in contention for any points. So, race 1 of my second season with the POC, not off to a good start. But, on a positive note, Trophy AI seems to be working. And maybe if I practice like this for my next race, I'll get a little luckier and I'll score a few points. But for now, not much else to do but get back out on track and keep driving. At the time I was hopeful there might be another big wreck and I might be able to catch up to the lead pack again, but in reality that never happened. I picked off 1 position on my own and stayed in front of the 2 guys who crashed with me. I ended up finishing P10, which is ironically where I started on the grid, so maybe things just ended up how they were supposed to. Either way, I got some pace and that's really good.
This left here, brake 50 meters later, and use second gear at the brakes.
Well, that was pain. Takeaways? Trophy AI work. Fuck my life.
IANSMASH Racing doesn't have an intro, 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 doesn't have an intro. IANSMASH Racing doesn't have an intro, so I made this shitty one using AI. I might make a real one in the future, but right now it's out of the budget. So stay tuned if you want to watch a guy who only kind of knows what he's doing. Try to explain it to someone else while also trying to figure out how to make a YouTube channel. We're talking about things like sim racing and 3D printing and making stuff and fixing stuff you did wrong the first time you did it. This is gonna be totally worth your time. Totally worth your time. This is gonna be totally worth your time.